I have no problem being opportunistic when it comes to advantaging my customers.
The automaker's EV business has lost.
We want to take the lead, put an offer in. We're America's car company.
Bad news for the fans and good news for the rivals. This crisis is going to be a big blow for Ford. Will they fight it out? Come, let's look into it. Ford is facing a significant challenge in selling their electric vehicles, leading to the CEO's decision to cease production temporarily. Ford dealers are now staging protests and refusing to sell EVs, causing a major setback for the company. Ford predicted that it would sell 400,000 electrified Mustangs by 2023, but in reality, it sold just 24,719, a 94% failure rate. It may surprise you to learn that Ford wasted $4.5 billion on electric cars only last year. Why is this EV breakdown occurring and what's going on? Initially, there was the Ford EV issue. Thinking it would be a game changer, a big company in the automotive sector ventured into the electric vehicle market. The chief executive, Jim Farley, had this big idea of EVs taking over the highways. Unfortunately, reality had other plans. Let's examine the reasons for Ford's maneuvering in this challenging electric vehicle landscape, and trust me, this is just the beginning. The EV hype train is the first reason. A long time ago, everyone believed that electric vehicles were way of the future. It appears that the typical person is hesitant to switch from their reliable gas guzzler to an electric vehicle. People are beginning to discover that the infrastructure for EVs is not quite smooth, like to a patchy road, which adds to concerns about batteries dying too quickly. Your customer base is uneasy. Now, things get much more difficult with heavy-duty trucks such as the F-150 Lightning. When an EV comes with a high price and a number of practical difficulties, the sweet dream isn't quite so pleasant. Even with frequent reductions, Ford's Lightning hasn't exactly been the standout vehicle in the showroom. To put it simply, lowering prices was ineffective. Take a look at the figures. In the first month of sales, Ford was only able to sell 39% of its Lightning inventory. Then contrast that with the substantial 70% they moved in the same month the previous year. It appears as though they have muted the Lightning's attraction. Why are sales so slow? However, the Lightning has its limits, particularly for those who abuse their trucks by assigning them different duties. It's not exactly gaining favor with the labor-intensive population. Not only is Ford struggling, but the market as a whole is also having some difficulties. Rather than adopting the Lightning model, consumers are focusing on other models that offer greater value for their money. Let's now discuss Ford's difficult choices. By October 2023, Ford was on the verge of financial collapse. They had some difficult decisions to make in order to avoid bankruptcy. The Ford F-150 Lightning production facility in Michigan laid off almost 700 workers. There are indications that further layoffs may be forthcoming if Lightning sales don't improve quickly. This brings us to our second point about why Ford's EV crisis occurred, the $4.5 billion barrier. They suffered greatly, losing $4.5 billion on electric vehicles alone in 2023. They lost $2.1 billion in 2022, that's more than twice as much, and their financial burden is growing. Ford had projected that they would lose around $3 billion in 2023, but reality had other ideas and cost them an additional $1.5 billion. Not only have sales been slow, but Ford has been pouring money into the electric vehicle industry, creating electric drivetrains and batteries. Ford's CEO is still wearing rose-colored gloves in spite of the setbacks, speculating that EV adoption may be a little slower than anticipated in the near future. But there's a distinct mood about the market. The general population is not as enthusiastic about electric automobiles as the bigwigs predicted. Ford may soon face bankruptcy if it continues to strive for an electric vehicle-dominated future. Fortunately, they have avoided this destiny thus far since their conventional models continue to generate significant revenue. The CEO of Ford continues to pursue his electrified vision despite a small dose of commercial realities. Another reason is that Ford is reducing its $12 billion investment in electric vehicles. EVs become less tempting choices as customers get increasingly selective about their expenditures. Ford was forced to abandon its massive $12 billion plan to invest in electric vehicles as a result of this shift in public opinion. This ambitious proposal included developing new technologies and constructing a large-scale electric vehicle battery facility in Kentucky. However, due to the lack of demand for its electric vehicles, Ford had decided to postpone this enormous expenditure, unless they're prepared to take a big chance and lose $1 billion in a dangerous game. Ford may eventually need to modify its original strategy, just like Ram did with its new Ram Charger. People may purchase hybrid vehicles or research different types of RVs. This new model addresses one of the primary issues with the F-150 Lightning by using the internal combustion engine to generate energy. When the battery is fully charged, it dies. Tough selling is an additional facet of Ford's electric journey that warrants more investigation. As we've already reported, Ford electric car inventory is overflowing at dealerships around the country. These are left on the lot longer until a client comes around than other Ford models. Ford is producing more cars than there is demand for, so dealers are left with an oversupply of these cars. We can gain some understanding by looking at the Mach-E inventory. In the first 30 days of 2022, dealers sold almost 87% of Mach-E supply. Even still, only 27.7% of the scenario was sold in 2023, a decline in sales. In 2022, the market was even more difficult, yet the F-150 Lightning sold 70% of its stock in just 30 days. By comparison, in 2023, this percentage fell to 39%. Ford finds itself in a terrible predicament. They need to reassess their manufacturing strategy in order to avoid suffering further financial losses. If the current rate of manufacture of these electric vehicles is maintained, there is a significant chance that more losses may be incurred. Based on prevailing market trends, Ford needs to cease manufacturing these cars until demand rises. Furthermore, Ford's electric cars aren't winning over dealers from coast to coast. A dealer voiced extreme displeasure, blaming an excessive amount of unsold Lightning and Mach-E vehicles on Ford's miscalculations. The F-150 Lightning and Mach-E variants were both turned down by one dealer due to insufficient demand. Dealers are not too happy with Ford's approach to the mounting backlog of unsold electric vehicles. Ford is being urged to examine its manufacturing processes in order to better align its vehicles with consumer preferences. The effect that growing labor expenses are having on Ford's profitability is another factor. Perhaps you are aware of the United Auto Workers strike, in which employees demand higher wages. Ford was struck financially, which is where the strike hits. Ford's profitability was eroded by the spike in manufacturing costs brought on by the higher labor needs. Because of the collective bargaining agreement between Ford and the labor unions, the business projects that labor expenses will increase by $850 to $900 per car. Although these figures might not seem significant at first, they represent another blow to an already dire situation. Ford needs to manage its money well right now to stay out of financial trouble. Ford's move to reduce the price of the F-150 Lightning is the main reason why EV sales are falling for the firm. Consumer apathy and diminishing demand are the reasons for Ford's difficulties. In October, they decided to drop the price of the F-150 Lightning by $10,000, which was a very large bet. Take this into consideration. In order to get rid of their big supply of Lightning, a considerable price drop was made from $59,949 to $49,949. Even still, business employees predict that prices will continue to decrease in 2024, despite the fact that these cars are losing money. Wait a minute, a brand new Lightning may go for as cheap as $45,000. Ford has several obstacles in the future, and things may grow worse if they continue to produce these EVs. What are your thoughts on Ford's future? Will costs keep falling and Ford's profits follow suit, or will the EV industry see another uptick in sales? Please share your opinions in the comments area below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and press like button to receive information on the newest cars and forthcoming videos.